You might say that we live in an absolutely daft world, don't we, when you think? I don't know about you, but I am sick to the back teeth of all this wokeratory stuff where you have to be careful what you say, what you do, whether you offend somebody, whether you... Look, we're all different. We all come from different generations. And I work, as you can imagine, in television with quite a few young people. And they make me laugh, because they sort of treading on eggshells all the time, right, chums? About, oh, I'm not sure, are you allowed to say that? You think, stuff it, because it's what it is, isn't it? It is really what it is. It's your character, your personality. Nothing wrong with that. Why should you not be allowed to say what you want? Of course, in the workplace, it's thumbs down everywhere you go. I mean, it's a bit like Waitrose, isn't it? A disaster they were, right? Because they decided to go woke. And then over at Jaguar, remember this. This is the advert, of course, that really wiped off, well, virtually all sales of Jaguar. And this was all down to the fact that this new director, one that was going to be marvellous, right? Well, he was escorted out the office yesterday because he was a disaster and has lost the company so much money. The bit I don't understand with this is how thick are the people at the top of the pile? Because you just had to watch the ad and say, what's it to do with selling a car? This is just controversial for controversial's sake. It's not going to add anything to the company, right? But consequently, time and time again, more and more people are going down this route, losing business at the rate of knots, but they feel at least they've tick box things. Step forward, this British leading bank. Oh yes, as ever, let me explain. Welcome back, chums. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out to join me today, and lovely to have your company. Now, I don't know about you, I find it more and more harder. We'll have a nice wave. I hope you're waving back. I find it more and more harder now to find a bank. Everywhere I go, it's like, theatres I've played, they've closed down, you know what I mean? And the ones that you do find, oh, you can't do this, you can do that online. So unhelpful, really. I mean, truly. I'm surprised these people aren't sort of trained, by some sort of, Gestapo force. They're so unfriendly. And actually, they're pushing themselves out of a job. They're that stupid, right? Step forward this particular bank, because as you know, when you go in the bank around this time of year, I've noticed this. They always put like tins of chocolate around, bit of tinsel round, and then they say, sorry for keeping you waiting 72 hours, but here's a quality street. You think, right, marvellous, And suddenly you get to see somebody who's totally disinterested. And I always find this thing amusing, the way that staff suddenly decide to put reindeer ears on their head or tinsel round their neck because, well, it's Christmas. And you think, get more staff behind the counter, don't care. Now, HSBC, one of the biggest banks, if not the biggest bank over here in the United Kingdom, well, they've banned their staff from wearing Christmas jumpers. Absolutely. You couldn't make this rubbish up, could you? And the thing is, Christmas jumpers apparently, they can do other things, festive things, right? They can have tinsel, there's Christmas lunches. Try not to use the word Christmas, though, because it might trigger people who are struggling, right? Everybody's struggling, so you can tick every box in that. If you're in the HSBC, you're not exactly up there in coots, are you? Bottom line is we're all just paying bills, trying to pay bills, trying to see how much money we've got left. But all staff now are being told not to wear any fancy Christmas jumpers with the words Merry Christmas on, Happy Christmas, Season's Greetings, Reindeers, Santas, you know it, anything like that. Because apparently if the customer comes in and they feel triggered, well, it could cause something of a meltdown. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go in a bank, right, chums, the thing that causes a meltdown to me is when they give you the receipt and you think, how much have I got left? And then you find a bill that you'd not known you paid, but they've taken the money out already. You know the sort of thing I'm saying? So to me, if the bank really wanted to help people at Christmas, it's not about whether people are wearing, ridiculous jumpers and trying to be jolly and all that. It's nothing to do with that. The true problem is you go in the bank and either you can't get the help that you want, they're refusing to print things out because you've now got to print it out, or you're forced online in that myriad of thing that you've got to try and work out yourself because, no, if you want to see somebody, you have to book an appointment. I'd rather look at a Christmas jumper and get some assistance than some sour-faced person behind the counter who clearly is just ticking down to losing their own job. HSBC truly have become the Grinch of banks. Anybody else agree? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.